It's a Monday. It's the 8th day of May, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Also being brought to you by WYDOT. As we take a look at the week's weather coming on up, it's going to be a busy week. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to be a week of weather that you've kind of been waiting for, especially in portions of eastern Wyoming, across areas of Nebraska, southern Montana, and the Dakotas, and parts of eastern Colorado that need more spring moisture. We still have a lot of areas east of the divide that need some spring moisture, especially with emerging rangeland grasses and crops and all of those things. Wanting to get some good soil moisture for the growing season is needed. And we see that first with mild temperatures here to start the week. We're going to see a few afternoon showers and thunderstorms today, and especially Tuesday along and east of the divide. This is after a few days where we have had some showers and thunderstorms around. Now, the thunderstorm threat really increases Tuesday evening, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And then as we go into the day Wednesday, we're going to see a severe weather threat. We'll show you where, but I think the first severe weather pattern of heavy thunderstorms with heavy rain, hail, strong winds, even the threat of some isolated tornado activity could be taking place on the high plains Wednesday. We'll show you that. And then we're going to see an area of low pressure meander very slowly over Colorado for 2 or 3 days, bringing upslope east of the divide. And this will be potentially bringing widespread and much needed rain to areas east of the divide here by the end of the week, along with cooler temperatures. Yes, it'll be cold enough for snow, but we think the snow levels are going to be pretty high in altitude. That's how it looks now. It's something, though, we'll need to keep an eye on. Today's satellite photo shows not a lot going on across the west. You can see a lot of cloudiness off to our east. This is a lot of shower and thunderstorm activity, but we still have high pressure here across the west, and this will lead to a mild start to the week with warm temperatures. You will see, though, another upper level low right here off the coast of Northern California again. This upper level low is going to slowly work its way on a southerly track. If you remember last week, we talked about where the low pressure systems were going to go. It could go north or it could take a more southerly route. Well, it's going to take the more southerly route, and that's going to make a really big difference on who gets wet and who doesn't. Now, over the last week, this is where the rain has fallen in the last week. You can see Nebraska there, parts of South Dakota, North Dakota picking up some good rain finally, but very little moisture in Kansas, not much in eastern Colorado. Northeastern Wyoming, not seeing very much, but you can see more towards the Pacific Northwest is where last week was wetter. Of course, last week we certainly had some mild temperatures and some nice spring weather, but this is about ready to change. We'll show you here in a minute. The upper level low there in Northern California was part of a broad area of low pressure that goes up there across portions of western British Columbia. But look what happens from where we are today at noon. This is for noon today. By noon Wednesday, the low goes all the way down into Arizona. Now, this is a pattern that we a lot of times see this time of year, where you'll get these upper level lows kind of break off from the main jet stream and take a track south, get away from the stronger jet stream winds, which means they slow down. They kind of meander. These meandering May low pressure systems are one reason why May is, climatologically speaking, one of the wetter months of the year in this region, because you do tend to get these. And this is exactly what we're going to see as we get to the middle to the end of the week. So by Wednesday morning, this is going to start to develop some heavier shower and thunderstorm activity, especially beginning tomorrow. We're going to have a few showers around the region today, but tomorrow, look at the thunderstorms picking up there in Kansas, northeastern Colorado, extreme southeastern Wyoming, and western Nebraska. A little activity there up across Montana. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms along the Wasatch. As upper level low energy dives out of Northern California towards Arizona, and then we start to have a natural flow from the south, bringing higher humidity air into the region because that upper level low is coming down into Arizona. So this is by Tuesday. Now, as we get into Tuesday afternoon and evening, we will see a few showers and thunderstorms develop there along and east of the divide, maybe a little higher risk of severe weather there in Oklahoma and parts of Texas. Then by Wednesday afternoon and evening, the moisture gets deeper and it gets pushed up against the front range. And you see a very active pattern of showers and thunderstorms developing further west, as that upper level low by then is going to be here, and the counterclockwise rotation around the low, counterclockwise wind circulation draws moisture up along the Front Range, daytime heating, and you're going to get some big thunderstorms. And you can see there's a risk right there along the Front Range from southeastern Wyoming into northern Colorado. We have a heightened risk of severe weather. So we'll need to keep an eye on Wednesday afternoon and evening in this region for some stronger to severe thunderstorms as we get into the mid to late afternoon and evening hours of Wednesday. Then the low goes all the way down into areas of southern Colorado. Now, a lot of times I will show you are the models in agreement. How confident are we in this weather pattern? Do the models suggest the pattern that we're about ready to portray here in terms of a slow-moving, upslope-driven pattern? So this is the European model. This is the Canadian model. This is the GFS or the American model. I would call that excellent agreement, especially this far out. So the chances of it taking the northerly track have significantly decreased. Is it a slam dunk yet? No, but we're darn close. So what if we do see that upper level low set up there? What'll happen is we will have a slow moving low, and there's that counterclockwise spin drawing moisture up from the Gulf and bringing air uphill. When you make air go uphill because of terrain, anytime the atmosphere gets lifted and it's moist, you're going to produce clouds and you're going to produce precipitation. Anytime the atmosphere is lifted, either physically because of terrain or because of the heat of the day, rising motion of air produces clouds and eventually, if conditions are right, precipitation in the form of showers, thunderstorms, and just plain old-fashioned rain. And if you put this pattern in place for more than, let's say, 48 hours or so, which will be the case as this will be a slow mover, then you get multiple days in a row where it could rain. And this is why this could be a very beneficial pattern to areas along and east of the divide. Now, this is through Sunday morning. Notice here, there's a definite boundary here that you get further west, there's not a lot of precipitation. But east of the divide, that upslope just draws that moisture this way, up towards the mountains and areas along the divide, up into the high plains. So you could have a nice and badly needed rain in this region. And this is the range you want to see in the month of May. Now, along and south of I-70 may not be as good, but there'll be some. And that system is going to likely linger right into the start of the weekend. We especially think Wednesday through Friday is going to be a period of cooler, wet conditions east of the divide. You can see west of the divide, there's going to be some shower activity, but there won't be as much moisture in western Montana and western Wyoming and Utah and Idaho in this pattern, but there will be some. And I think next week, west of the divide, could be an active pattern of thunderstorms, as we may see an upper level low kind of meander in the Great Basin next week. So next week might be areas west of the divide's turn to have better chances of precipitation. But this would be a really beneficial rain event for a lot of the areas right here that really need some rain. And if you focus in a little bit more, this is the same graphic, just zoomed in for the region. And there's a lot of areas getting an inch, maybe 2 inches of rain or more out of this pattern. We talked about snow. It will be cold enough for snow, but it looks like over the higher mountain peaks. Probably this is an 9,000 feet and above type snow event. Maybe keeping the plains just wet, although you always got to be careful with these mid-May storms as snow levels will sometimes drop further than expected, but right now they look to stay high. We'll keep an eye on it for you throughout the week. Have a good Monday. See you tomorrow.